Let's explore this official GMAT data sufficiency problem. To get the most out of this video, pause the recording now and solve the problem yourself. The correct answer is C. Even if you got this right, let's clarify our strategy, as that will help us with harder problems. I'm pretty sure that your solution involved some examples, and that's a great starting point. There's something about our little human brains that finds dealing with real examples easier than dealing with rules and abstract concepts. Let's break it down and look at statement 1 alone. An example can help us even with our initial understanding. Pick an integer, say 2. The square of 2 is 4, so x could be 4. Take another integer, say 9. 9 squared is 81, so x could be 81. We know that x is a square number. Remember that statements are facts. They're definitely true. Our job is to say whether this true information is enough to answer the question. Is knowing that x is a square number enough to say whether x is a 3-digit integer? No, it isn't. X could be a 3-digit integer, say 100, that's 10 squared, or it could be, say, 49, that's 7 squared, and have 2 digits. Statement 1 is not sufficient, and we can eliminate answers A and D. See my other video about using this grid to keep track of your elimination. Now, let's look at statement 2 alone. According to this information, x could be a 3-digit integer, such as 149, or it could be a 2-digit integer, such as 91. Statement 2 alone is also not sufficient, and we can eliminate answer B. Now let's look at the two statements together, and this is where things get more interesting. We need to think of examples for x, given that x is a square number between 90 and 150. What could x be? Knowing your square numbers will help you save time on the GMAT. Here they are. Wait, I've gone too far. X can't be 81, and it can't be 169. X must be either 100, 121, or 144. At this point, you might be thinking, we still don't know what x is, so this is not sufficient. But that isn't accurate. Whichever one of these numbers x is, we know that x is a 3-digit integer. The two statements together are sufficient. The correct answer is C. I'm going to call this strategy testing cases, and it's an important one. It can be applied to just about every data sufficiency problem, so it's worth being very clear about how it works. To help with that, I wrote a mini problem. Take a look. Here's a question. Is Juan from Spain? Here's some data. He's from a Spanish-speaking country. Is this information enough to answer the question? Hopefully your instincts say no, and indeed it's not sufficient. We can prove this by picking examples. Go ahead. Where could Juan be from? By the way, you're not expected to know this geometry for the GMAT, but we're just solving a puzzle here. What examples did you come up with? Juan could be from Mexico, or Bolivia, or Argentina. Could Juan be from Brazil? No. At least according to a conventional definition, Brazil is a Portuguese-speaking country. Remember that example, Brazil. It will come back later. But there's another country that's really important to think of. That's Spain. And that's the point. According to this information, Juan could be from Spain, but he could also be from another country, meaning that we don't have a clear answer. These two examples prove that we don't have enough information. This is testing cases. Let's analyze exactly how these examples work. Try to answer these questions. First, how did these two examples relate to the statement? The answer, the two examples agreed with the statement. They were consistent with the information. Second, how did these examples relate to the question? be precise here. These two examples gave different answers to the question. That's what let us say that the data was not sufficient. In conclusion, here's our definition. If we can find two cases that agree with the statement and give different answers to the question, then that statement is insufficient. Were you paying attention? Let's see. Try to repeat that formula for testing cases. Say it aloud. Did you get it? It's not enough just to follow along with your studies. You need to make sure that you're being active and engaged so that the concepts really become part of your understanding. Go back and rewatch the last part of the video if you need to. Next, let's put this into practice while the idea is still warm in your mind. Here's another problem that you can solve using testing cases. Pause the recording now and solve it for yourself. Let's follow our process. We'll break it down and look at statement 1 alone. The GMAT is being tricky here. Statement 1 is really just saying that k is an odd number. Now, which odd numbers could k be? We know that k is between 56 and 66. So that k could be 57 or it could be 59. Again, we've got our two examples that agree with the data and give us different answers to the question. This proves that statement 1 is not sufficient. We can eliminate A and D. Looking at statement 2 alone, this one's a little bit more confusing. And I'm actually going to pick examples for k plus 1 first. K plus 1 is a multiple of 3. So k plus 1 could be 60 or 63. This means that k could be 59 or 62. Note, if you picked 57 for k plus 1, then k will be 56. And that's not possible. That's like our Brazil example before. It doesn't agree with the information. Statement 2 alone is insufficient, and therefore we can eliminate B. Looking at the two statements together, we're looking for examples that agree with all the data. And we've got one already. That's 59. If we look hard, we'll be able to find another. 65. Let's check it. It's an odd number. It's between 56 and 66. And if I add 1, then I'll get a multiple of 3. So k could be 59 or it could be 65. This proves that the statements together are not sufficient and the answer to this problem is E. Check out the link below for a follow-up task to consolidate your understanding.